Today we're going to go through some reasons why your bar chord transitions might suck, and 6 tips on how to improve them. The focus today will be on getting your fingers into the most efficient positions, as the less work your fingers have to do, the faster you can transition between chords. I know everyone has different hand sizes, so you may need to make some adjustments based on your hand size, but that's okay. Number 1, the roaming thumb. This is the roaming thumb. You can see how much unnecessary the work the thumb needs to do, but if we can put it into a more consistent position, so I'm putting it a little bit higher than halfway up the neck and just behind the index and middle fingers, you can slide much more smoothly around the neck. Number 2, the Too High Barre. You can see how high my bar is here. And this happens a lot with the E major and E minor bar chord forms. And the issue is that if I want to go back and play something with the A minor form, so this B minor, to play it correctly, I need to bring my index finger all the way down so I can mute that E string. So often what happens instead is with this B minor chord, instead of playing this B minor chord with the muted E string, I'm hitting this B minor, which has an F sharp in the bass, and just sounds that little bit off. So instead when doing bar chords, just try to keep the tip of the bar just a little bit higher than the E string. While this Chambers by Kings of Leon is a good riff to play to work on getting your bar finger a little bit lower, and just look at Caleb's perfect bar. If you have the bar too high, it makes it quite difficult to control the notes. The riff often does force you to get this kind of hooked bar, which is not great, but it's not the focus on the riff. It's about getting a reference for how high that bar should be. Number 3, the robot reset. The robot reset happens when you treat the chord shapes completely independently. So instead of the chords traveling the smallest amount of distance from one shape to the next, the fingers all come out, reset themselves and reform the chord. So let's have a look at the chords to Danny California by Red Hot Chili Peppers. A minor, G major, D minor, A minor. If you look at the transitions, obviously to go from A minor to G major, you just need to put your middle finger down, that's easy. But now to go to the D minor, you really need to focus on maintaining this shape. So then you're just putting it down when you play the D minor. So we're just trying to find the fastest way to get from A to B without the detour. Having a strategy is good, so it might help if you focus on planting your middle finger first, and then putting down these fingers, and then finally the bar. And with lots of practice, eventually you'll be able to move the whole shape and land it without thinking about the whole process. Bonus tip. Moving from bar chord to bar chord is tricky, but most still find it easier than moving from an open chord to a bar chord. And once again, having that strategy is really important, rather than just trying to grab for the chord. Number 4, the bunch. I've covered the bunch in another video that I did on bar chords, and I'll link that video below. But basically, it takes a while of playing for your fingers to be able to separate naturally. So we take the chords to Californication, A minor and F major. So with this A minor, my fingers are comfortable and they're close to the frets. But when I get down to this F major, my fingers have bunched up, and now the fingers are far away from the frets, so I'm getting these ghost notes. So when you're moving between bar chords, be aware that you'll need to sometimes bunch and unbunch a little bit as you're transitioning between the chords. Number 5, the lock-in. The lock-in occurs when transitioning between chords that are far apart. And by keeping the fingers pressed down, you get these messy ghost notes or unnatural sounds in between the chords. So it sounds a bit like this, slowed down. Incidentally, these chords are from Where Is My Mind by the Pixies, which is a great song to work on bar chord transitions. And I've simplified this progression just a little bit from the original. For some songs, ghost notes are desirable, like Smells Like Teen Spirit. But But if we don't want that transitional sound, instead you can add an open string strum in between. And the way this works is as we transition between this E major and the C sharp minor, in between I played 2 strums with just open strings, and that allows me more time to transition the chord. And it also makes that C sharp minor clearer when I land it. Now this does take a long time to get right, and instantly I'm playing my E major chord with my index finger free, so it helps me find that A minor bar chord a little bit easier. And on acoustic guitar it also helps reduce those squeaks between chords. Number 6, practicing too slowly. Imagine you wanted to practice your 3-point shot in basketball, but you allowed yourself 30 seconds to set up each shot. Even if you nail every one of those shots, it's still not going to help you if you want to make a shot in the NBA with the game on the line.
Down by 2. Big Frank!
Because you haven't practiced under pressure. It's the same thing with bar chords. Kind of. If you allow yourself all the time you want to move between them, it's not realistic to how fast you need to move between them in a song. So practice with a drum beat. I have found this app Loops, I'm not affiliated with them, and you can start slowly and speed up the BPM as you get better. There's also lots of drum loops available on YouTube as well. And you just make the beats per minute faster as you get better. It's going to mean that the first strum on your bar chords will be terrible at the start. But with practice, you'll go from getting that first strum clear 10% of the time to all of the time. So give yourself a little bit of pressure, and it'll really help you in the long run. Let me know in the comments any other bar chord issues that you're having, and I'll check out this video next.